Miss PattyCake.
My friends are here! That's you! I am so glad you came to Miss PattyCake's house today. You know what time it is. Story time! Are you ready for a story? I have one just for us. This is Clever Cub Forgives a Friend, written by Bob Hartman. Are you ready? Here we go. One cloudy morning, Clever Cub sat sulking in a dark corner. And Fred was not there. Papa Bear could see his cub's glum face. "Where is Fred?" asked Papa Bear. Clever Cub grunted and crossed his arms and said, "I do not know, and I do not care." "But you and Fred the bunny are best friends." Papa Bear was surprised. "We're best friends," Clever Cub growled. "That was before he called me a big, bossy bearhead." A big, bossy bearhead. "Oh, why did he say that?" Papa Bear asked. "For no good reason," Clever Cub muttered. He wanted to dig up wild carrots, but I hate wild carrots, so I said no. And then he got grumpy. Have you ever been grumpy? I know. It's no fun to be grumpy. Let's see what happened next. Let's turn the page. I see, Papa Bear nodded. Friends do grump and growl sometimes, but that's what forgiveness is for. Clever Cub grunted again. "Well, I'm not forgiving a carrot-chomping name-caller like Fred." "Well," Papa Bear said, "would you like to hear a Bible story?" "Does it have bunnies or carrots in it?" Clever Cub asked, munching on berries. "No bunnies," Papa Bear promised, "and no carrots either, but there are some grumpy people in it." Let's see. So Papa Bear sat down in the sun and said, "This story is about a young man named Joseph." Oh, that's a nice name. Do you know someone named Joseph? Well, you do? His name comes from the Bible. Joseph had many brothers. Joseph's father, named Jacob, made a beautiful and colorful coat for him. But Jacob didn't make special coats for any of Joseph's brothers. What do you think about that? Clever Cub scratched his nose. He always did that when he was thinking. And he said, "I think his brothers probably wanted that coat." Well, can you see the picture of all the brothers gathered around Joseph with his beautiful coat? Do you think they wanted his coat? Well, let's see what the story tells us. "You are right, Clever Cub," Papa Bear said. "They worked hard in the fields, tending the flocks. They wanted special gifts from their father, too. So they became angry and jealous. But something else made them even more angry." "What happened?" Clever Cub asked. "Joseph told his brothers about a dream he had." Hey, have you ever had a dream? And did you remember it in the morning when you woke up? That's what happened to Joseph. He had a dream. In his dream, Joseph was ruling over his whole family. "Uh-oh," Clever Cub shouted. "I guess they did not like those dreams. Did they call Joseph a big, bossy brotherhead?" Well, no," Papa Bear said, "but they did call him a dreamer. And then they did something much worse." "What did they do?" Clever Cub asked. Papa Bear said, "The brothers plotted to get rid of Joseph. One day, out in the fields, the brothers grabbed Joseph, they tore off his coat, and they dropped him down into a pit, like a big hole in the ground." Clever Cub's eyes grew wide. "What?" he said. "Oh my goodness." Papa Bear looked sad. "It's true," he said. Then the brothers sold Joseph as a slave to some traveling men. And when the brothers went home, they made their father think that young Joseph was killed by a wild animal. Clever Cub's eyes grew even bigger. "What?" he said. "That is awful." It was awful. Can you see the picture of Joseph? He's on top of a camel. See the camel? Then what happened next? Yes, it was awful, Papa Bear agreed, but God watched over Joseph. He was taken far from his home to a land called Egypt. Can you say that, Egypt? That's right. He worked very hard, and then many years later, the ruler of Egypt called Pharaoh. Can you say Pharaoh? Pharaoh. Pharaoh had two strange dreams, and he demanded that someone explain these dreams. Well, God helped Joseph, the dreamer, remember, explain the dreams to the ruler. Pharaoh was so impressed that he decided to put Joseph in charge of the whole land of Egypt. Wow, that's amazing, right? Let's see what happened next. What happened to the brothers? Did they ever get in trouble? Clever Cub asked. Well, said Papa, a time came when, for 7 long years, no crops grew. That means there was no food to eat, right? So Joseph's brothers came to the land of Egypt to get food that the ruler had saved. But they didn't know that Joseph was in charge, the very brother they threw in the pit and sold. So you can see the picture of the brothers with their donkeys and they're bowing to Joseph. Clever Cub looked grumpy. Did Joseph tell those mean old brothers to go away, he said? That's a very good question, isn't it? Well, let's see what Joseph did. No, he did not, Papa Bear replied. Joseph knew what forgiveness is for. Forgiveness brings people together, and God is happy when we forgive each other. Clever Cub's eyes grew as big as they could get. What? He said. Can your eyes grow big? What? Joseph forgave his brothers even after all the awful things they did? Papa Bear chuckled and said, yes, God helped him do exactly that. And when his brothers realized that this man in charge of all of Egypt was their own brother, they were scared at first because they knew what they did, remember? But forgiveness helped bring their family together again. Can you see the page? What are they doing? Yes, they are hugging each other, the brothers. So, Clever Cub scratched his nose. He was thinking hard. So, if I forgive Fred, do you think we will be friends again? Papa Bear nodded. Yes, I do. And I think Fred will forgive you for hating carrots, too. All right, said Clever Cub. I will forgive him and say I'm sorry, too. And I guess I could try a tiny bite of carrot. Then off he went to find his friend. The end. What a good story about forgiveness. Maybe you need to forgive someone who is your friend or family today, too. That is Clever Cub Forgives a Friend, written by Bob Hartman, published by David C. Cook. You can find your own copy at davidcook.org. Remember, subscribe, like, and click the bell.